Okay, sounds good. So let me go ahead and get started. Um, right, a few things before we really fully begin. I was wondering if you know what a confluence is and Jira.
I think I know what Jira is, but the other one I'm not sure.
Confluence. Okay. Do you know what a sprint is? Basically, what's the term? One's waterfall versus waterfall. Yes, agile. Do you know what agile is?
No.
Okay, I will show you a graph. So when you are going ahead and working in like a wide majority of different types of software teams, usually there is two types of uh, kind of like planning. Okay, the first one is called waterfall, and it's like the old version of doing things. People, generally speaking, don't use waterfall anymore. But what waterfall is, for example, we are going to create a program and we're going to list out every single item or feature we call like each um, new element that we're going to add in our software. We're going to call it a feature. So we're going to think of every single feature that we can possibly think of, and then we're going to plan it out. So, say for example, we have 100 features. We have 10 developers, and each developer is going to work on one feature a week. So we think it's going to take us 10 weeks to get this software done, right? Um, but the problem with waterfall is that things can sometimes come up unexpectedly. Sometimes there are changes, stuff like that, right? So um, it's not very accommodating for any sort of changes. So that's why we have something called agile. Agile basically says, okay, so you're going to list out everything that you can think of, any sort of bugs, any sort of features that you might want to do, and then every sprint. So sprints are between 1 and 4 weeks. Our company does 2 week sprints, but you can think of it as like a little cycle. And within at the beginning of each sprint, we go ahead and we look in our backlog, right, in our little list of things that need to be done, and we pick out the items that we want to work on this sprint. Maybe it's the most important items. Maybe it's items that are the oldest on the list that need to be done, right? And so we say, okay, this week we are going to work on all these features and we're going to give them to certain people. And then they're going to resolve these tickets. And at the end of the sprint, we're going to see, hopefully, all the tickets are going to be complete. If not, sometimes we can bring some additional items on onto the sprint and then onto the next sprint, and we're going to pull in even more items. And that way, every 1 to 4 weeks, we can review all of the tickets that we've done so far, our progress so far, what other stuff we can put in, and if, for example, there is an emergency bug that happens, if all of a sudden our clients decide that they want a new feature that needs to be done right away, or they decide, hey, we have this new feature, maybe the first part of it, but we actually don't really like where it's going. We want to pivot to um, another direction. With the agile, it's very easy because in 2 to 4 weeks, in 1 to 4 weeks, we re-review what we've done so far, and we're able to easily pick in new tickets that we think are the most relevant. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Okay, I that was not a very reassuring yes. Are you sure that makes sense to you?
Yes. It sounds like everybody's working together even though it's separate and everybody's working on different tickets, but then everybody still goes in and does check-ins in between the 2 and the 4 weeks. And if adjustments need to be made, the adjustments are made within the agile software development.
That's perfect. Yes, that's
Yes.
why actually you were very good at describing that. Um, and so I will show you, for example, this is ours, and I need to invite both you and Lucas on because I haven't done that yet. You guys are new, so I haven't added you yet. But um, we use most. I'm not gonna say every single company, but like 99% of companies use a software called Jira. Um, and so Jira is what we use to track tickets and see how we're doing so far. So, can you still see my screen so far? Is it working or no?
It's working. It's
Okay,
good
okay.
tonight.
Because
And I think I downloaded this one, but I don't think I like created account and everything, but I haven't done anything on there.
I know it's not just you, as multiple people have been complaining about it before, and I think it's because I use Brave, and Brave is very, very privacy oriented. So I'm starting to think that Brave might be like cutting off that tab after a while.
I
Um,
don't know. I use Brave too, so I'm not sure that's who
no,
I
when you're
prefer
sharing
to.
your screen, Brave is as a screen sharer, it might be cutting it off, but that's why on
It
Jitsi
looks
right now
good
you can see
tonight.
I'm using like Edge instead, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyhow, this is our agile board, and we can see over here. Well, right now I only have one ticket, right? But ideally in the future, everyone, when you guys learn how to use Spring, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to create like 5 or 6 features. Like, hey, I want you to work on emails so that like clients get emails when there's a new card offering that should be bought. Maybe you should work on something else. I don't know what that new feature is. Well, we can think of like maybe improving the database or something like that, right? So everyone gets their own tickets, and then at the very start of each session, we have something called a stand up, and a stand up is when we all come together, we all say what we've done so far, and if we need help. Um, I know stand ups seem kind of scary, where it's like, oh my gosh, what if I didn't do anything? The idea behind it is like sometimes and I'm guilty of this too, where I try to work on something and I don't know how to do it, so I keep on working at it over and over and over again. So maybe it's a simple issue and it's just I need a little bit of a helping pointer, right? And so if I ask a senior developer, they might be able to help me out and pair program with me, and I might be able to solve my issue in 1 hour rather than spending 3 or 4 weeks trying to crack this myself and not doing it the right way, right? So this kind of holds you accountable, and you can say like, "Hey, it's in progress. This is what I'm doing so far." And if it's taking too long, sometimes us as a team, we might be able to ask you like, "Hey, what's going on? What are you struggling with? Maybe we can assign someone who has more experience with this to work with you, so you can learn what's going on and master this this challenging part, so we can help you become more successful." So that's the idea behind it. So during stand up, everyone goes on. And for example, if today was stand up, which it isn't because stand up usually has multiple people, but I'll say, like, so I've been working on this ticket for the past like day or two. So far, I've implemented parts of the API, but for example, the authorization token part, I still have to work on. It has XYZ bugs, but I expect to finish it tomorrow, for example. And so then you can go through. Everyone says their little part, and that's how it works out. And I know it doesn't say here, but usually if we have sprints, there's another little thing right here called backlog. There it is. And the backlog will basically have a list of all the tickets that we possibly want to add later on. And during our new sprint, we'll say, let's just say, for example, Amber, you just finished your ticket, so you're free, right? You have open bandwidth. So we'll go through the backlog and we'll find a ticket that we think is suitable for you. For example, if you're particularly good at networking, for example, then maybe we'll find a networking ticket and assign it to you and have you start working on that. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool, cool. So that's like a general outline of Jira. And there's also another software on Atlassian. It's called Confluence. But Confluence is nothing too crazy. Basically, for our software, lots of people create lots of different parts, right? And so it's hard to keep track of what each API does and the idea behind it, right? And so basically, the idea behind Confluence is every time there is a big, it can be small too, but every time like a big new feature is rolled out or like an overarching feature is rolled out, then people can post little documentation. Think of it as like a Google Docs. You can basically post little articles in there that explains your code. Usually, it's not at a super low level, like at a very high level. Like, hey, so this endpoint that I just created does X, Y, Z. These are the expected functions and what it's supposed to do and stuff like that.
Okay, can you send me that one in the group message? And I think the screen is doing that because
Oh,
I
is it
saw
no longer
some
sharing
points.
again?
I saw it at first when you were first typing it in,
Can you see
and
the screen now?
then
Hello.
I see it.
Yeah. So I will send you this link right here. And
Okay.
yeah, send me your email again, and I think I might have to invite you. I don't remember if I did already. Let me go see.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're already on this board. I invited you, Amber Maynard.
Yes, on the Jira.
Yeah. So
Yes.
cool. Okay. All right. So today we're gonna get into a little bit of APIs, and I know obviously Lucas isn't here, but if he was, I think he would get excited because he knows what APIs are. But um, we're gonna learn how to create our own APIs. And so yesterday, you remember my lesson on APIs. Basically, it's a way to speak and talk with the server, right? You remember that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and create something called Spring. And I'm not going to get too into it simply because you really have to watch my previous videos in order to catch up. There is a lot of content. And if you don't watch through all of it, you're going to be missing pretty crucial pieces of information. But I think for today, I can kind of give you some big overviews and stuff like that. So it might be able to better help you. So uh, I'm not going to explain how you get Spring because if you watch my videos, you will see it. But this is an example of a Spring project. And there are quite a few different types of uh, folders here. So advice, clients, configuration, controller, dependencies, exception, model, and service. And so if you view my videos, you will see what each one of them does, but I will give you a very quick brief overview right now, just so you kind of understand. Um, the advice class basically is able to catch exceptions and throw in different error codes. So if you remember yesterday, let me go to Hopscotch. If I go here, you can see that, for example, when I threw this request, I got a status 400 bad request, right? And obviously that means we'll have to change and fix some stuff, right? But that's not the main problem here. You can see that, for example, they're able to throw a specific message, no authorization token was found, as well as a status code, right? And so advice class basically is able to catch different sorts of exceptions and throw different codes. So I'll show you so far what it looks like. And you can see, for example, we catch exceptions like the bad request exceptions. And what do? We will throw back a bad request, which is a 400, right? A 400 is a bad request. Where's bad request? Bad request. Bad request is a code 400, right? And inside, we'll throw the exception, the actual exception stack trace inside the body. For example, if we have a store not found exception, which is an exception that we created, right? Then what do? We throw a 404, which is not found, right? So if we take a look at not found is a 404. And so this is basically the class that we use to go ahead and throw different error codes in, and we can customly add bodies. So in this case, for example, for if we were running card cache, our body would be a DTO that had a message, and the message would say no authorization token was found, right? Okay, for clients, clients basically are anything under the client class is basically if we want to go ahead and throw APIs from our end. So, do you know what private endpoints are and how microservices work?
I'm not sure about private endpoints.
Okay, so I will teach you a little bit about how microservicing works. Um, you can see the whiteboard right now. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So when you go to Google, okay, I don't want you to think that Google is one giant software. That's not how it works. That's never how it works, right? Because sometimes you will see that um, if Google was one giant software, it would be very hard to debug what's going on. And in addition to that, if something goes wrong, right, then your entire website goes down, and that's horrific. What you call it, engineering practice. You want to make sure that your website and your program is as resilient as possible, right? And so when you're creating a website, you're going to use something called microservicing. And so you might have, for example, if you're on the Gmail team, right, you might have an authentication service, right? And this authenticates people. You might have a mail service, right, which actually sends and receives mails. You might have another service that is for auditing, and that basically keeps a log of all the events, right? You might have a filtering service that filters out spam and stuff like that. Spam service, filtering service, right? And so if something goes wrong, you don't have to worry about it because everything else still works. So when you log in, for example, your authorization service might first take over, and then you might go to the mail service, right? The mail service will then talk to the authorization service and ask if that the token that you're getting is valid, and the authorization service will reply yes, right? And once the mail service is done, maybe if the mail service receives outgoing mail, it's going to go ahead and contact the spam service to check if it is spam, and the spam service will talk back and say it's not spam and stuff like that, right? And so basically, you can see that when you are going ahead and developing any website or any program, you have tons of different softwares that are all talking to each other with APIs, and that way they're able to kind of work together to optimize stuff. In addition, this is something else I didn't say. Is I know I just wrote, like, let's say there are four services, and I just wrote them as like four big blocks. But really, let's say the authorization service might have four instances of authorization service. A, 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 right? For example, and there are four instances in each location. And let's say in the West Coast there's one. Maybe in Europe there's one. Maybe in Australia there's one. Depending on what continent, it might go to the different locations to improve latency, right? And so even if one of the instances of your authentication service goes down, two of them can still take over and so help out. So that way, that's how we achieve 99.99% uptime, right? That's how we ensure that our services are as reliable and as consistent as possible. In addition to that, uh, I will show you, for example, I can go to redditstatus.com, right? And we can actually kind of see on a high level some of the how they break it down. Now it's not completely correct, but you can see they have like a web service, a mobile service, right? They have a vote service, they have a comment service, they have a spam processing service, they have a mod mail service, right? So even if, say, for example, the mod mail service goes down, everyone who's still using the desktop, everyone who's using the mobile, everyone who's using the upvoting and downvoting or creating comments, all that stuff still works. So it makes things a lot more reliable, and you can trace it. So that's what that's the hierarchy of microservicing. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And so the way they talk to each other is with APIs and basically using a client class, we can go ahead and allow a program to talk with each other. And if you look at my previous recordings, you just scroll through the Backend Devs channel and look for my uh, all my YouTube links. You'll see. I think it was the previous YouTube link. I was talking about it, and I actually gave a demonstration of how to use this client class. Okay. Next thing, the configuration. Configurations are basically one-time one-time situations. Like when you start up a program, some of the stuff requires like authentication, or some of the stuff requires let's just say, for example, you want us to set like a timeout for certain things, right? So um, basically your configuration will tell Spring like, hey, this is how you go ahead and set like a timeout for example, your client, right, and stuff like that. And so it's basically just tell Spring some basic um, constraints that you want your program to do. Not I mean, it's not super hard. You'll see what it means later on when we actually get to it. Controller class, very very important. Controller and service classes are the most important in my opinion. Okay. um, Basically what's going on is you know how we have different APIs. So for example, if I go back to not this one, that's fine. Over here, this is an example of an API, right? And they might have a whole bunch of APIs. Maybe instead of buy, they also have a slash sell, a slash whatever, right? Basically, your controller class is the very first place where any of your visitors would hit. So in this case, we have two APIs, three APIs, and they're all get APIs. Do you remember how yesterday I told you there were get APIs, post APIs, put APIs, patch, delete, and head? You remember that, right?
Yes.
So over here, when we're creating our own APIs, you always put it under the controller class. Now, the controller classes are not supposed to do any hard logic. Um, what they're only supposed to do is basically define the constraints of the API and what's supposed to take in, as well as do a very basic validation. Stuff like we want to make sure that, for example, in this case, we're taking in a parameter of store name, right? So we want to make sure the store name is not null or empty. If it is null or empty, then we can throw a bad request. But it doesn't actually do any of the hard work or logic or anything like that. That's in the service class. Basically, we take all the information that we get from the API and we throw it over to the service class. Okay, and we can see in the service class is actually where we do all of our logic, all of the hard work, and that's where we actually process. For example, in this case. We are getting the percentage of a specific store. So if I give you a store like Safeway, for example, or Amazon, it will tell you, oh, this is the percentage that we can pay out for it, right? So over here on the controller class, all we're doing is we're taking in the store name and we're making sure the store name is not empty. That's all we're doing. And then for actually doing all the hard work for calculating what's hard cash is going to pay out for Amazon, for example, we will run it in this method, which is in the service class, and it will do all the hard work and logic behind it, and throw it back. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and dependencies. Dependencies are basically like stuff that's being used, usually what I like to use it for is something called constants.java. And constants.java just holds all of the strings. So the rule of thumb is anytime you use a number or a string or some sort of variable more than once, you want to put it inside your constants.java class. And there's a reason for it. The reason why is because, say, for example, if api.ebay.com/identity/v1, right? Let's just say they update their documents and now it has become v2 because they invented a second version of the API. Well, it's going to be a hell of a time if you put this string everywhere in your code, right? You're going to find every single instance of where that string is and change it from v1 to v2. And that's just a pain. Whereas if you put it inside the constants.java, all I got to do is change it in this one place. And anywhere that uses this URL, I will instantly know that it works because it got updated and I don't have to worry about it. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Exception. Exception classes are basically where you just create your own custom exceptions. So in our case, for example, if you type in a random store ABCD and it doesn't exist, then we will throw a custom exception called a store not found exception. That is a type of runtime exception, right? And remember in the advice class how I defined anytime when I throw a runtime exception for that specific call, what we're going to throw not found, right? So all of the exceptions, we're going to throw in the exception class. And last but not least, it's the model class. Oh, I don't like describing this one, but essentially, do you know what a JSON is?
No.
By the way, sorry, hello.
Yes, I said no.
Okay, a JSON is basically a type of. It's a way of transferring information. So notice how over here I have it has opening and closing brackets, and it has this message, right? Basically, it's a machine readable way of transferring information, and you have to know what a JSON is. If you don't know what a JSON is, you're going to be in trouble. So I'm going to send you this. I'm going to find a video for you, and you have to watch it when you're on your off time. What is a JSON? It is very simple. Like 12 minutes. Actually, I think it's rather on the longer time of what a JSON is. It really shouldn't take you that long. And so I really need you to watch this video because it is extremely important that you do so. I will send that over to
Okay.
you. Hey, Gene, what's up? Are you here with us? Oh, okay. Gene is not here. Okay. To skip or join, up to you. Okay. All right. So I think for today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very basic sample, like Spring endpoint with you guys, just so you can kind of mess around with it. And in fact, if you want, why don't we do this? Amber, can you share your screen for me, and I will guide you through the process. Do you have a Java installed and IntelliJ or some sort of IDE?
I'm not sure. You would have to show me what the site, because I have Jira and I have
Like, how do you code in Java?
no, I don't have Java on my machine.
Okay, please download Java JDK version 18.
You said
And
version.
I will also send this over to you because if you don't have Java, I don't know how you're gonna learn and code Java in my class, right? That's that's kind of counterintuitive. So download this
Okay,
IntelliJ.
I have this. Yes. I was calling it something else.
Okay, you wanna? Okay, I'm gonna stop screen sharing real quick. If you don't mind, giving me a minute here. Okay, so wait, are you on Mac or on PC?
I'm on PC. I'm
Okay,
on Windows.
so I'm going to take a look at this IntelliJ and scroll down a little bit. Don't click on the white ID IntelliJ Idea Ultimate because you don't want to pay money. You're going to scroll down and there to the black section, and it says Community Edition. It's almost just as good. Go ahead and download the Community Edition.
So let me see. So I'm seeing it's white and it says Explore JetBrains AI, or I went too far.
No, 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 no. Can you search? So click on my link and then search up Community Edition.
Go directly to your link.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Bam. Okay. And then I see downloads. It says Windows. So,
If you want to share your screen, I can also assist you a little further.
okay, let me share it so I can be safe because it's like 3 different versions.
Sure, sure.
Start screen sharing. Bam. And Brave window tabs. I'm gonna say entire screen. And share. Wait. System audio and then share. No, it's not working. Okay, there.
Perfect, perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, I see a Canvas tab open. Do you have a edu email address or no?
EDU, yes. I have 2 different ones.
Okay, actually, go look up IntelliJ student, and they will actually give it to you for free. Just go on Google
So
and search up
that link
IntelliJ
is just
student.
Google. Okay.
Yeah, so I know if you're a student, they do like to help you guys out and give you free stuff. So, um, yeah. Yes. Go ahead and get an educational license.
So just put apply now.
Yep, yep. And make sure that you apply with your student email address. Yeah.
Email here. Yeah, I think this is the one you were telling me that, oh, if you have your student EDU, then it'll be free.
Yep, yep. That's right.
Let's see, I got too many tools. So, this one. Okay, what did I do wrong? So it's telling me it's not. Oh, I'm missing an A. That's what it is. Ooh. Let's try it again.
Oh, I don't think it knows your school, to be honest. You have two edu email addresses.
I have one that I'm using, but this one should work. I just
Like add
registered.
your school to the JetBrains list. I think.
Okay. So school name Trinity. in English. Copy, paste, get from save. And then it's a zip file, so open it
I
up.
don't really know how that works. Hmm. Okay, you know what? Go back real quick for me
So go back to
to the other. Yeah. Okay,
zip
back when it
file.
said the email, it doesn't recognize your email.
Because it said get file. It was opening something.
I think it's only if you have the school repository. Scroll up a little bit and use official document.
In your region. So what do you mean by official
I think it's like a
previously
transcript, but give me a minute here.
like a student or enrollment letter? Um I have like the enrollment for my classes.
Yes, I think that might work. But first, click on GitHub Student Developer Pack. And yeah, go ahead and go through that. Okay, student, perfect.
So any of these.
No, just keep scrolling down. Okay, keep scrolling. In your application, go ahead. The bottom one. Yes.
That's what I did.
Yep, and click add an email. That's fine. Okay, so this is for GitHub. This is not for JetBrains. JetBrains doesn't know what they're doing.
Okay, 102. So
They've sent a verification email. If you look at the very top, and so you have to log into your email. By the way, you're sharing your screen, so if you want to keep your emails private, you can stop sharing.
oh,
Yep.
you stopped recording though, right?
I am still recording though for what's his name? Just because she might
Okay.
also want to know. Chris or not Chris?
Okay.
Lucas.
So then once I get into my email, we go into this connect. So I'm doing all caps. A, 2, it's telling me to contact my admin. And I don't think tech support is open right now. It's crazy. You want me to share it? Let me see.
Sure.
It's giving me an error, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because
Tell
that
me. Tell me what's going on. I'm curious because I don't see your screen right now. I can't really tell.
entire screen share, and I know it's correct. Where is it? No, just had it. And it's not incorrect because this is what's on my documents.
You might want to just get rid of the at tvcc.edu. I'm not sure if that's.
Because this is the same way that they told us that we're supposed to log in.
Have you never logged into your email before?
They're supposed to be confirming it. They say this is my email, but I haven't fully gotten into it yet.
Okay,
But
maybe
this is
they
supposed to
haven't set it
be.
up completely right. You
That's
might,
what I'm thinking, but this is supposed to be it. But that means I would have to log into there to verify the email and then it'll let me download, or how would that work?
yes, in theory.
Because I think it's linked. I just have to verify. It's not this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this tab. So then once I get into there and verify it, I will be able to get into it. Correct?
Yes, you will
Okay.
have access to GitHub for Student, and then GitHub for Student will give you a link that will activate your IntelliJ Ultimate.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I did have it, but I need to be just get rid of the old account that I had and just do it under the student so I can get it free.
that's right. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
And another thing that we're gonna do, and then we're gonna call it. Go and look up Java JDK.
You said Java J.
DK. Uh,
Screw
yeah. Download the latest Java LTS free.
this.
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
And I've been doing some. I've done some of their little trainings. It'd be early in the morning though, so I need it for
And yeah, you
Windows.
can go with 22. Usually companies do 8, 11, 17, but 22 can't hurt. Go ahead and, yeah, just get
So
that.
22 is okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So compressed or installer, which one?
Installer.
Let me just do program. So next steps or just click close.
I think you click. Yeah, it's complete. Go ahead and click close.
Okay.
Okay. And you're going to go to starts.spring.io.
You said go where?
To a website called starts.spring.io.
So start.
Yes, .spring.io. All right. Basically, this is the way how you start a new Spring Boot project. How to start from scratch, right? And so, if you look at it, basically, you're going to go ahead and click on under project. You're going to click Maven.
Maven?
Yes. And so, Maven and Gradle are different ways of dependency management. Do you know what a dependency management is?
Not management. We just talked about dependencies.
Okay, basically it manages your dependencies for you. So you can add and remove and update or downgrade certain dependencies using a program called Maven. And I will get
Okay.
into it next time, just so you guys are Actually, I don't even really need to get into it. If you guys watch my videos, I kind of go in
We'll see
detail
it.
on how it works, so you
Okay.
will understand how that works. Obviously, for the language, we're using Java. We're not using Kotlin or Groovy, right? And for Spring Boot, yes, take 3.3.2. And do you see on the right hand side where it says add dependencies? Go ahead and click on that real quick. Perfect. So over here, you can see that there's a whole bunch of different items. There are, for example, Lombok, and keep scrolling, and you can see like Spring Web, Spring Reactive Web, Spring for GraphQL, REST repositories, Spring Session. So different things are for different people, right? Say, for
Mm-hmm.
example, if you want to deal with databases, right? Then maybe you want to
Okay.
search up SQL. Type in SQL real quick for me.
You said SQL or
Yeah.
SQO?
SQL, like yeah, exactly
Yeah,
like this.
SQL.
And so you can see at the very bottom there, there's the MySQL driver. And so you might want to click on that if you're dealing with databases. And then all of a sudden, you'll have all the tools that you'll need to interact and deal with databases, right? And say if you were dealing with AWS, then you might want to look for that. Stuff like that. Whatever you're
Okay.
dealing with at that time, then basically you can go ahead and import them over here so that your new Spring project will be able to support and have all the basic boilerplate code to allow you to connect and uh, work to
Run.
do whatever you want.
Okay.
Yes. And then go ahead and exit out of that. So click outside of that box. Perfect. So after you're done, you're gonna click generate. Don't click it now because obviously um, you should watch my video first before you generate. But after you select everything, you can click generate, and it gives you an empty Spring Boot project. And on the next video, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to teach you maybe some basics of how to create an endpoint. But if you watch my video, I also go into detail on how that's done, and you shouldn't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So, any questions so far? Does it all make sense?
I'm still figuring out all the different things you just had me open up. The only one that I was kind of aware of was the JetBrain. So the spring, this
Mhm.
one here is the start spring is something new.
But
And then once I get into, by the time we get to the next class, I should be into my email, and I will have the other one downloaded on here too.
perfect, perfect. But please, please, please read my or not read, watch my previous videos, and it will teach you for sure um, how to use Spring. And a lot in the previous class, I went from scratch, creating a scratch project to where we are now. So if you watch my previous videos, I know it's not just one, and it's quite a bit of time. But if you watch through them, you will be able to kind of get caught up and understand the basics behind Spring.
Yes, and I just go into the Slack group and just watch,
Yes,
right?
and just watch my previous videos. That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool, cool. Other than that, I think we're good for today.
Okay. And I will see you guys Friday then.
Cool, cool. Thank you so much. You have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.